You better buckle up your seatbelt and tighten that sphincter. Call me Miss Frizzle and hop on my bus because we are about to go on a magical ride. Yes, we are looking at all of Watchtower's imagery that they've used down through the ages and deconstructing it a little bit. I think as I was going through all of these old Watchtower pictures, it kind of reminded me so much of what it really means to be a Jehovah's Witness and what it means not to be a Jehovah's Witness anymore. So it was a fun way of going through Watchtower's history of imagery and also doing a bit of deconstructing along the way. So, boy howdy, let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and today we are looking at Watchtower images. But quickly before we get into it, don't forget to drop a like on the video. It helps it get out to more people on YouTube. And subscribe to the channel if you want to see other crazy goofy content like this going forward in the future. With all of that being said, let's do this. So I figured we'd come right out of the gate with a real banger here. This comes from an Awake article from 1952, October 8th, and it is talking about your mind, the bullseye of propaganda's target. And it talks about politics, the press, radio, television, religion, movies, and even comics. Yes, everyone is trying to infect your mind. And it's always funny to me to look back on being a Jehovah's Witness because we had this mentality of, oh no, those people are a cult. Oh no, that's propaganda. Oh no, everything on the outside is bad. Everything on the inside is good. Oh boy, do we got ourselves a real humdinger on this one. Now, this one just cracks me up because I really enjoy how out of touch with reality Watchtower is, and they literally made my day. This is a picture obviously showing, oh, did the Bible predict how people were going to act during the last days, and oh, they're obsessed with themselves, and they're greedy, and they're violent. But this lady on the left, like, this is like the mashup we never knew we needed, but oh, we're so happy it exists. This is 80 for Brady meets Magic Mike. Why have this old lady making it rain? In what like, if you're trying to show people that just are frivolously spending money and you want to show someone in their, I don't know, 70s or 80s, why are you going to show them like, yeah? Like, wouldn't they just be buying a nice car or buying some Christmas gifts for their grandchildren? But this lady is just like watching Channing Tatum throw it back and just this cracks me up so much. And the face she makes too, she looks like she's making like a farting noise, like I can't even hold it back. Oh, it's so funny. But it did remind me of a funny story of the one time that I went to a strip club. I don't know if I've ever told this on the channel before, but as you guys can probably imagine, Wally walking into a strip club was pretty awkward. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to do. It was like on a bucket list. Hey, let's see what this thing is all about. I wasn't a Jehovah's Witness anymore. And boy howdy, I was so confused. I walk in and people are asking me, oh, do you want to pay $35 for a water bottle? I'm like, $35 for a water? What tarnation are you speaking about? And then I sit down and these girls are dancing on the stage and there's other people around and I'm like, what? Why are people here? I fundamentally don't grasp it. To this day, I still don't fully understand what the point of it is. Like, in my mind, I'm like, wait, are like people like masturbating? Is someone behind me like masturbating? That's disgusting. And it smells awful. And it just smells like dirty buttholes. And it was just the worst experience ever. I hated every single second of it. But oh man, if this lady was in the strip club I went to, though, it would have been well worth it, because she would have absolutely made it a real hoot. This next one is pretty funny because it's something that Jehovah's Witnesses do and ex-Jehovah's Witnesses do. So when you see someone in a Watchtower video or in a magazine or whatever the case might be, you're like, oh, you get so excited, I know that person, while you're a Jehovah's Witness. And then when you leave Watchtower and you're the next witness and you see someone you know, you're like, oh, I know that person, even though you're out of the religion. And I just think it's funny because I am 100% guilty of this myself. And it was just a phenomenon that I kind of thought about as I was looking through all of these pictures, and I was seeing various people that I have met throughout the years. And I'm like, wait, that's funny, because we used to do that as witnesses, and then as ex-witnesses, we do the exact same thing. So anyway, it's like this weird little hero worship of people that get to make it into a Watchtower or into a Watchtower video. So anyway, just wanted to talk about that. Now this one is where Watchtower leans into something in their doctrine that's absolutely awful and makes absolutely no sense, but they still portray it anyway. So here we have a depiction of what happened during the flood of Noah's day, and there's children. There are actual children that are about to die, struggling and fighting for their life. Drowning is, from what I remember, it's one of the worst ways you can actually die as well. And you just scratch your head and you say, but they're kids. I know maybe they're in Jehovah's memory and everything, but then what, they're going to get resurrected and the last thing they'll remember is drowning? Because they grew up in the wrong family? It's wild. Absolutely wild to me how Watchtower actually leans into these things. So here in the background you have the magical otter box that saved the entire animal population, so full of kangaroos and pandas and elephants and giraffes and kittens and all sorts of good stuff. Then you have the Nephilim, the people that came down from heaven because they were so enticed by boobs. They were like, oh, I can't live without it. So they betrayed God and came down to heaven so they could enjoy themselves, some of the women. And then when they were about to die, they just left their bodies and became demons. There's so much going on in this one picture about Jehovah's Witness and biblical lore. I could just go on and on about it. But yeah, you got to play the classics sometimes. Now, I'm including this one because you already know this is the most fun any Bethelite had for like their entire time at Bethel. Doing this photo shoot must have been fun. Getting to actually portray a Halloween party and get dressed up and doing all of the shenanigans must have been absolutely fantastic. Whether you're an ex-Jehovah's Witness or a Jehovah's Witness, you are going to know very well all of the emotion that comes with this type of imagery. Mind you, this is in a children's book, which is absolutely wild, but they want to start people off early and being scared of Armageddon. There are so many different Armageddon pictures that I could show, but basically, Jehovah's Witness leaders want people to be terrified all the time of this murderous Iron Man Jesus coming down on a horse and just blasting everybody. And you need to be a Jehovah's Witness or that's going to happen to you. And this is one of the best depictions just because, well, maybe it's not one of the best, but it's one that I grew up with. And it's just the fact that it's in a children's book and you see people running for their lives in terror. That is why people stay in this organization, because they don't want to be blasted by murderous Iron Man Jesus. So we've reached a new phase of the boss battle here, and that is how Watchtower actually displays people who are greedy and in love of money. So first off, we got the juxtaposition here of the guy with the sunglasses, obviously, wearing a watch, obviously, waxing his car, versus the people out in the ministry. So this guy decided he wanted to buy a sports car. Don't know why he's waxing it with a watch on. That's a pretty brain-dead maneuver there, bucko. You're going to scratch your car. Highly not recommend that. And then this guy, you know, he's got the sensible wagon SUV, whatever the heck that thing is. And yeah, so let's see how this thing progresses. So they show our poor guy with the sports car. He's working late, you know. I work hard for my money, you know the vibes. And then this other guy is also just working hard for nothing, because he's doing elder stuff and going and visiting people. Now, there's nothing wrong with going and visiting people that are your friends and making sure and checking in on them and making sure they're okay, all of that good stuff. But in the Watchtower context, it gets a little bit dry, boring, and pointless, to be completely honest. And no doubt he's doing this on a weekend anyway, which I'm sure that this guy isn't working. Anyway, the whole narrative doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But let's jump to the last picture, and hey, now we're all taking selfies. Hey, look at me in my sports car. And hey, look at me, I just built some Kingdom Hall looking thing. How is any of this different is my conclusion. One person is working hard for themselves, and one person is working hard for someone else. So for those of you wondering why some people might make the claim that Watchtower has some racist background or anything, this is a great example, because every time they depict perfection, angels in heaven, it's always white men. And only white men. So if you want to be perfect, according to Watchtower, you gotta be a white man. Now, this one is just funny to me because, man, it resembles that kid that was on the Oprah show, and I just can't get it out of my head, so now you guys get to have it in your head as well.
Shall be ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation. Of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed.
And of course, we had to finish with something from the My Book of Bible Stories. It's a classic. People falling from the ceiling. Everyone looking terrified when they're looking at a really weird angle, like everyone's looking up Samson's skirt here. It's a real banger. It's right full of memes, and it also terrorized me as I was a child. So a real classic. But anyway, that is enough imagery from Watchtower. Comment down below what some of your favorite pictures throughout the years have been of Watchtower propaganda. If you're still around, don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. With all of that being said, stay safe. Be kind, and don't forget to smile. And, you know, have a good-ass day.